What's going on, guys? It's Scott here again, Woke Societies, on a beautiful June 7th, 2019. I wasn't planning on making another video probably until Monday or after the weekend, but there was a lot of stuff that's been going on, a lot of fishy, suspicious things going on, of course, and I just wanted to report it, share it with you guys, see what you guys think, and let's jump right into it. We're gonna start with the Linda Collins murder, and we're going to also get into another story where two NYPD officers killed themselves within a day of each other, and we're going to get into that. We're going to get into some General Flynn, and we're going to end off with some little news story or two at the very end. So again, I know the episode's been like 35 minutes long. I'm going to try to cut that down, but let's get right into it. So as you can see, this news circulated pretty quick. This was a couple days ago. I don't like to report on things usually the same day that it happens. I like to see if anything develops and see how the story plays out, if there's any additional research that needs to be done, and what have you. So, right here, former state senator Linda Collins Smith found dead. Death being investigated as a possible murder. So guys, she was found dead in her home on Tuesday from a gunshot wound. And the police found her wrapped in a blanket rug. She was wrapped in something. It was very weird. But what I wanted to get to is a part of the story where they talk about how the neighbors, they had heard gunshots in or around her home around a day or two before she was found dead. Now, I'm going to find it here in the article in just a second. They talk about how when the police found her that she was decomposed. They could identify her, but she was severely decomposed. And when I had read that, it was very strange. And if it was only 2 days that the neighbors had heard these gunshots, it was only 2 days that her body had to technically decompose if that story is true. So I dug in a little bit. I searched some things about decomposition of bodies. I pulled this up here, which I thought was really interesting, which was perfect. I was looking for 1 to 2 days what decomposition of a body would look like. And I was reading, cells gradually lose their structural integrity and begin to break down, releasing cellular enzymes which break down cells and tissues in a process known as autolysis, degraded by the body's own enzymes. There will be no obvious signs of decomposition. Very important here. However, internally, bacteria within the gastrointestinal tract begin to digest the soft tissues of the organs. Throughout this stage, certain early postmortem indicators may begin to occur, such as liver mortis, pooling of the blood in the body, rigor mortis, and ulcer mortis. So, I just thought this was really strange, guys, that they said she was found already starting to decompose. If she was just shot and killed within 2 days and her body was laying there at room temperature, that's a huge factor. Why was her body seem to be more decomposed than as if it weren't a fresh body? You guys get what I'm saying? So if they're saying her body was decomposed, it seems like she was killed before these 2 days had occurred. So it's a weird part of the story. I didn't read too much into it, but I just thought that was strange. So I want to bring you guys over to a thread here. And after the case had started, she was obviously a senator in Arkansas, and everyone knows who else is from Arkansas is the Clintons. Now, from a lot of the research that I do, more than just the story, the Clintons are involved in so many different things. Their tentacles reach into so many different things. And I couldn't find like solid evidence that this was related, but I'm going to show you guys some things that I thought were, again, suspicious and possibly related to the Clintons. So here we go. First, I have this article here. Arkansas judge seals police records in killing of former Senator Linda Collins. And I'm not sure if this is, because she was a senator, I'm not sure if it's common practice that a judge would seal the case files after the police do their investigation so they can't be read in public. I really don't know if that's how that works. I'd have to look into that a little bit more. But I thought that was a little suspicious. Trying to see here. Again, this is the part where I said before, by the time the authorities found Collins, they said her body had already begun to decompose, which made the identification process more difficult. Again, if she was just killed, like the neighbors said, on the day that they heard shots, which was 2 days before they found her body, which would have been Sunday, how much could her body have decomposed to where it was difficult for them to identify her body? So, again, very strange. Let's see here. Alright, so we talked about the sealed records, and we're going to go further down the thread here. Now, this was the information that I was looking for as far as this being connected to the Clintons. These are just some notes I found, and it says she was working with the DHS, was the Department of Human Services insider to expose missing $27 million from the Child Protective Services. These funds are being placed into trade, and the dividends are being filtered back to the Clinton Foundation or owned shell companies belonging to the Clinton Foundation. The missing $27 million was discovered when it was revealed that DHS in Arkansas had 2 separate sets of books. It's connected to a federal grant that requires a specific number of children be removed from their families to meet the required quota, so that they're able to renew the grant again each year. For any alternative or mainstream media outlet, government authority, or agency who has the courage to actually do something about this, they give an email to where they can send this to. So guys, this was the stuff that I was really trying to find here with this separate set of books for bookkeeping. These were the things that were supposedly that Collins is going to go on a grand jury and testify about, and pretty much expose Clinton, and again, missing children. This isn't something new, especially if you're in this community, that the Clintons have been linked to, been friends with people that have been involved with pedophilia, child sex trafficking, all those good things, right? So the story continues. Right here, she had called into a Patriot Soapbox, which is pretty much a 24/7 live QAnon feed. I've watched this before. It's pretty good. I don't watch it all the time, but again, it's linked. She was definitely awake, and what I mean by that is I consider people who follow Q people that really know what's going on. They're hooked in. They're not being blinded by the mainstream media, and she had called in once to do this interview here, and it was just, again, there is no solid evidence linking her to the Clintons, but again, she obviously had some ties to Q. She had 2 followers on Q and whatnot. And let's see. So we went over the decomposition. We went over some possible links to the Clintons, and here we have, again, this is pretty much what that tweet I just stated. Scrolling down here, this is another thing that this guy in this blog was talking about from the Walker series. It says, discover the connection between the murder of former state Leonard Collins, the Clinton cartel, and the Child Protective Service's role in the massive underground child trafficking ring hidden within private organizations funded by federal grants. Again, Clinton's child trafficking. This is a lot of people know that these things are very closely related to the Clintons, of course. So this was something that I found very interesting here, published on December 9, 2015. The Arkansas Joint Performance Review Committee met Wednesday, December 9, 2015. The topic was the corrupt and scandal-filled Arkansas Department of Human Services. Besides allowing out-of-state and dead people to sign into our Medicaid system, ARDHS has also been involved in the government kidnapping of children. The most famous case of this, taking children away and violating the U.S. Constitution, is of Hal Stanley of Hot Springs. This case is still pending, despite guns being pointed, laws being broken, and children being taken on false charges. Linda Collins Smith asked if there was any charges, with those testified regarding those problems. So, obviously, Linda Collins was definitely looking into this. She was investigating this. She definitely felt something was going on, and she mysteriously was killed. The police are ruling it a homicide. She was shot, and the case is still going on, and we really haven't heard much else about this. But the really, really weird thing about this entire story was this Facebook post, and I'm gonna try to find it here. Yep, here it is. This was on the Victims' Rights Arkansas. This is the actual page that I found. And this right here, this was dated May 16th at 8:11 p.m. Now, just to give you guys some even more weirdness, this was taken in the Pacific Coast, so on the East Coast this would have been 11:11. Very strange number. Coincidence? I don't know. But it says here, May 16th, remember guys, she died a few days ago to today's date. Our condolences to the family and friends of Senator Linda Collins. This is Linda's last interview, which was given on May 16, 2019, featuring former Senator Collins, Kathy Hall, and David Gutierrez. Now, if you look on the Facebook, if you look in the comments here, it says, so sorry for your loss, but proud of your strength. 2 weeks ago, 12 hours ago, voices for victims. And right here, someone called him right out. I'm confused. You posted condolences on May the 16th, but they didn't find her dead until a few days ago. How did you know? The original post is May 16th. We pinned the video back to the top of the VR page to honor Miss Collins' work on behalf of victims of crime. Yeah, that is weird. I don't know if the FBI should be looking at this, but the way this was worded, again, here you go. May 16th, 11:11 p.m. Very weird. And they posted this as if she had already died. They knew she was going to die, but again, there's no way to prove this stuff, guys. I'm just simply showing you the information that I've been finding on this, and I just find it very odd. So that happened, and one other death here that was related to, as far as a politician or other senator. We have this guy named, where is he here? Former Oklahoma State Senator Jonathan Nichols. This was a day after Collins was found dead. He was found dead with a gunshot wound, and also he was very, his body was he was decomposing already, severely. So he was found dead. I wasn't really able to find any other information besides that on this guy. This was a day after. Again, they're linking her here. I don't know if there's any connections between Jonathan and Collins here, but it was something to be reported on. And this article says right here, Arkansas and Oklahoma lie side by side with a distance of under 500 miles between Pocahontas and Norman, Oklahoma, where the deaths occurred. So I don't know if they're getting at maybe whoever did this was able to pull off 2 murders in a day. I'm not sure. But these are just some deaths that I found. And very strange. Again, very, very strange. So the other story I really wanted to get into were these NYPD detective and police chief. So right here, 2 New York Police Department officers have died 1 day apart after apparent self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Deputy Chief Stephen Silks died Wednesday near the police department where he worked, reported the New York Times. Police said it was a result of a self-inflicted wound. Silks, 62, was a month away from retirement. He had been in the police department for 38 years, said Lee Jones. So guys, this guy was about to retire. He was 1 month away, and he offed himself. And the second officer was Joe Calabrese, 58. He was an NYPD Brooklyn South homicide detective, chairman for the Detectives Endowment Association Board of Trustees, and union trustee. Calabrese didn't show up for work Thursday and was found when officers went to search for him. He had been with the department for 37 years. So this guy killed himself, literally, and then the next day, this homicide detective killed himself as well. So I was looking into this. I thought the timing was weird. These guys were literally, they were with the police department for so long. I know, obviously, police officers go through a lot. They see a lot of things. It's very sad, obviously. It's very sad for these families to have to go through this. And condolences to these families, to be honest. It's very sad. But I was thinking about it. It's weird. I don't know if if they're linked somehow. But then I found this article here. This was back in 2016, November 2nd. This was related to the Anthony Weiner laptop, which had had Hillary emails, money laundering, sex crimes with children, child exploitation, pay-to-play, perjury. So right here, January 31st, 2017, Anthony Weiner got slapped with federal child pornography. May 3rd, Comey, top Clinton aide. Huma Abedin forwarded classified information to Anthony Weiner. Huma Abedin was Anthony Weiner's wife, I believe. So, Hillary is under investigation for money laundering and other alleged crimes linked to her and the Clinton Foundation, including pay-to-play schemes like Uranium One and more. So, again, the NYPD seized the computer from Weiner during a search warrant, and detectives discovered a trove of over 500,000 emails to and from Hillary Clinton, Abedin, and other insiders during her tenure as Secretary of State. The content of those emails sparked the FBI to reopen its defunct email investigation into Clinton on Friday. So the NYPD had access to things that most of us haven't seen. They were able to see supposedly links linking straight directly to the Clintons, their foundations, between money laundering, child exploitation, and just terrible, just disgusting things. And she is the biggest hypocrite of all for going after Trump for these things. It's kind of funny in a way, but I don't know. I was trying to see if I could find a link between these NYPD officers that killed themselves and possibly linking it to Clinton. I'm not trying to link everything to Clinton. This is the things I'm researching. These are the things that I'm finding. So again, I want you guys to see what I'm looking at. Hopefully you guys can do your own research. Maybe you can find some things that I'm missing. That would be great. And yeah, this is just more information going more deeper into the emails, what they found. But I gave you guys pretty much the gist of what I wanted to go over with that. These links are also on my Facebook, and you can see the stories on there as well. So the other big thing I wanted to get to,
Michael Flynn has fired his lawyers.
Let me see here. So General Michael Flynn, as you probably just heard from the video just for that second there, Michael Flynn fired his entire army of lawyers that he had representing him for the Mueller case. Now, the interesting thing here is people are saying this is a new strategy for Michael Flynn, and I don't think it is. I think what he's been planning to do has been his plan the entire time. As far as, let's see. Now, you guys know that Flynn was being investigated by Mueller, and now everyone knows the Mueller report is over. It's done with. The case is closed. No matter what mainstream media wants to tell you, they're giving it to other Democratic hands, and they're going to try to impeach Trump, which is the biggest joke I've ever heard. And now that case is over, Flynn no longer has to defend himself. He can now go on the offensive, and I think that has everything to do with this new change with his lawyers. So, and the other thing I wanted to show you guys real quick was a Q post here. This was a Q post back on December 4th of 2018. You can see it right here. Who knows where the bodies are buried? Flynn is safe. We protect our patriots. Q. Now, people keep saying, well, why did he plead guilty? I think he pleaded guilty to actually have so he could actually testify and get his testimony out into the public and to expose things that probably they weren't expecting. And I feel eventually he's going to be exonerated. And again, I follow Q, and they're saying right here, who knows where the bodies are buried? Flynn is safe. So Q's been right 100% of the time. If you guys research Q, they have a ton of Q proofs, and that is very interesting to me. And this was back. This goes back right here, and they re-imaged it on 12/4/18 again. So we'll have to see how that unravels. I feel like there is a separate case going in here, which also Q talks about right here. Let's see. Right here, NBC News. There appears, although the redacted documents do not make it completely clear, that there is a separate criminal investigation going on outside of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's purview, for which Flynn has been providing a significant assistance. Markers are important. Did Mueller have a choice in making the recommendation? Who does Mueller now report to? And it goes on and on here. So, from what Q is saying here, again, December 4th. I think this was December 4th. This is all related. I do think they're saying there is another case, and where they say, who knows where the bodies are buried, Flynn is safe. This is all related to each other, and I think there is something big coming. For my last videos that you guys saw, censorship is coming hard. YouTube is cracking down as what they call hate speech. And I looked into that a little bit more. That is a very broad term. And I feel like it's going to be used to silence independent media, sites like mine, channels like mine, just to have an excuse to shut down anyone that's trying to tell the truth and get the truth out there. They are desperate. They wouldn't be doing a move like that if they weren't desperate. And guys, what is coming up in next year are the elections. And I don't think the timing is coincidence at all. Nothing is really coincidence these days. And again, I just want to get that out there. We are in the middle of an information war right now, and it's heating up. And the censorship on Twitter, Facebook, everything with the antitrust I went over in my last video is happening. They're being investigated, and these big social media companies are cracking down, and they know they're trying to get control of the narrative, I believe, because there is something big coming down. So they're going to try to get ahead of this, and to get rid of small channels like mine. The bigger guys, they're going to go after them too. And it's scary, but it's also showing us that we are winning this war. And why else would they be trying to shut us out if we were just full of conspiracy theories and lies? So I wanted to get into that. The other thing I just wanted to show you guys is this. Now, Trump had issued tariffs on Mexico because he's getting tired of the border crisis. Now, like I told you guys before, I was very against Trump. Not even 7 months ago. I woke up. I'm not saying Trump is the best character in the world. I do believe he's doing the best for our country at this point. And when I used to hear things about immigrants and saying there was a crisis border, I really didn't believe it. I thought it was BS. I played into that whole racist card with him, that he's just a racist. He doesn't like Mexicans, which is not the case. And I found this here, and it says, breaking: Mexico freezes accounts of human traffickers tied to migrant caravans comes after President Trump's tariffs. It's like, why wasn't this done before these tariffs were imposed? Because Mexico is making money off these human traffickers, these drug cartels. They're all in cahoots with each other. Trump knows that. The United States government knows that. They know it's all linked to each other. But the moment we start putting a little bit of a chokehold on their economy, oh, look at this. Mexico freezes their accounts of human traffickers. No way. So from what it seems like, the tariffs are working, and it looks like they're going to continue to work. And if no one says, I just wanted to show this, that there is no crisis border, I just want you guys to look at this chart. This is the Southwest Border Migration Fiscal Year 2019. Now just look at some of these numbers. You have 2018, 17 here, 19's up here. So if you look, October was 60 compared to all these years. And as you keep going here, it gets bigger. January, 58, 76. March was 103,000. April, 109,000. And May, 144,000 people trying to cross into our border. And people, this is just not immigrants from Mexico. These are immigrants from all over the world. They know our border is an open door, and the mainstream media is going to peddle this as people that are just, they want a better life. They have nothing in their homeland. They're desperate. They want a better life, so they're trying to come here. But that In some cases, that is probably true, but in most of these cases, they're drug smugglers. They are especially human traffickers, people that sell children for money, regular adults, slaves, sex slaves. So be it. They're flooding into this country, and it's absolutely, it's not good. None of it's good. And anyone that tells you that there isn't a crisis in the border, this chart right here pretty much just dispels that. That's hard numbers. That's what we're looking at. So that's what I really wanted to get into, guys. Again, do your own research. I was looking into the Clinton stuff linked to these murders. I will continue to look into these things. I wanted to get the news out there. Again, if you like this content, I would love for you guys to subscribe, like, share this on my Facebook, my Twitter. It's all on there. I'll put it in the description. And yeah, we're looking at about, like, what, 25-minute video, which is awesome. I'm cutting it down each time. I'm trying to get everything into smaller increments of time for you guys. So thank you for watching. I love you guys. We're going to continue to fight this information war. Keep your ears and eyes open and stay woke.